A very good morning to all the students of class 12th political science. And students, today from this lecture we are going to start a new chapter, and the chapter's name is Alternative Centers of Power. This is chapter number 4 in your NCERT book, but we have to go according to the new revised syllabus. So according to the new revised syllabus, this is going to be chapter number 3rd here. Okay, and the name is also updated, and the new name of this chapter is New Centers of Power. It means we'll see what are the new centers of power which can challenge the hegemony or dominance of US in this hegemonic world. So before when we started with the physical classes or the regular classes in the school, I had taken up the first chapter in the school. In that, I had explained you in the very first class that why first chapter is so important, and why, if you have to understand the whole syllabus or all the concept of this particular book, the contemporary world politics, you need to have a clear understanding of the first chapter. So they are all interrelated, so you have to correlate the chapters here. Okay, so let's talk how I'm talking about all this. First of all, we talked about, when we started with this book, that is Contemporary World Politics, we had started our discussion with the World War II, which ended in 1945. As soon as the World War II ended, there started a Cold War, and we know the situation of Cold War, where the whole world was divided into two poles. One was the Eastern Alliance, and the other was the Western Alliance. Western Alliance was led by US, and Eastern Alliance was led by Soviet Union. So this division led to the various problems where they both try to show the dominance, and in the economic, political, and military and technological terms. Then after that, we saw in the second chapter, so in the Cold War we see the rivalries and tension between these two superpowers. Then in the second chapter, we saw the name was End of Bipolarity. Although many new topics have been merged of chapter number 3 with this, but still we saw that how and what were the reasons and consequences of disintegration of USSR. So that is why it was End of Bipolarity. And after understanding this chapter, End of Bipolarity, we had seen some additional topic from the chapter US Hegemony, where we saw that after 1991, when USSR in 1991 disintegrated, how there was a dominance and control and influence of US power in terms of politics, in terms of military technology, in at the world level. So we saw all that in US hegemony, how it was dominating all the world politics. So, and this is a map rough I've drawn, that how Europe was divided during the Cold War. This was the Eastern Europe, this was the Western Europe. Eastern Europe was the allies of USSR, Western Europe was the ally of USA. This is we had also discussed about Berlin Wall in Germany, from where this division was made. Okay, but after the end of bipolarity, we saw the dominance of USA, because USSR disintegrated in 1991. But today, the chapter which we are going to cover is the new centers of power. It means, okay, we were seeing that the US was dominating in all the political affairs, even the economic affairs, or in terms of military technology. In every sphere, US was dominating, and we had seen this in the chapter US hegemony, although we had taken only the additional topics. Okay, so we will see here new centers of power. Okay, that what were the alternative centers of power which could challenge the power of US at the world arena, or at the world platform recently. So we are going to study some of the organizations and some of the emerging countries which are economically, military, or in terms of trade, are becoming stronger, and they can challenge the US hegemony in the coming years, or we'll see. And like the topics which we will be covering here, we'll be studying about the organizations like European Union, ASEAN, SAARC, BRICS, and some of the countries like China, Russia, Israel, India. It means these are the new emerging alternative centers of power which can challenge the power of US. That is why we will try how India, Israel, Russia, and China are emerging, and they can be an alternate center of power which can challenge the dominance and hegemony of US. That is the reason we are taking these topics. These are the individual countries, but we will start with the organizations. That is European Union. We will try to understand what was the structure of European Union and how it became so powerful that it could challenge the hegemony or the power or dominance of US. Then we will see ASEAN, then SAARC, then BRICS. After completing these four organizations, we will take individually these countries. Okay, so for today we shall be starting with the European Union. It's here European Union. So I hope you have understood the context of the chapter and the background of the chapters which we have already covered. That is why I told you that all the chapters are interrelated. We have to correlate the topics with one another. So we have to understand how with the end of this second world war, this was the situation and the era of cold war. After that, after this integration which we call the end of the bipolarity, there was the US hegemony around the world. But now there was a requirement that there should be some power to put a check and balance on the dominance of US. So these are some of the organizations and the countries which we will study. So the first one we are taking under this chapter is European Union. In short, I shall be calling it EU, so it should be understood to you all. So this is an important topic and you have to understand this properly, write all the notes and answer the questions which I am giving you for the assignments. So let's start with the European Union, that is EU. So we are starting with the background. First of all, you have to keep in mind this European Union, this organization was not established in a single day, or there was not a particular date that we can say this was established in a single day. It was a long process, we can say. It has a structure which we will discuss, that how slowly and gradually various functions led to the establishment of European Union. So we'll study that entire process, how that European Union in 1992 came into existence. So we are starting the story from 1945 and finally in 1992 it will be established in 1992. So we have to see what were the terms and what were the circumstances under which European Union was established, what was the requirement, okay, how it was formed. So let's see, after 1945 we know it was the time period of World War II ended there. It was an economic failure of Europe. So if we talk about World War II, the most affected area around the world was Europe. So it was an economic failure. It had faced a lot of destructions in terms of resources, in terms of economy, trade, foreign relations amongst the countries of the European countries. In the map you have already know where is Europe located. Okay, so we will see that in the World War II, as the most of the countries, the powerful countries during the World War II was France, Britain, Germany, Italy. These were the major countries who were involved in the Second World War since 1939. So there was huge destruction of property, life, economy, okay, trade. So everything was destroyed there after the Second World War. So after this Second World War, we saw there was a failure of Europe economic structure. So now what happened? To support that, there was a plan brought out, that is Marshall Plan. Let's see why this Marshall Plan and what was this Marshall Plan. After World War II, Europe states had shattered the assumption and structure. After this World War II ended, all the European countries, states here mean countries, they had shattered their assumptions. Whatever the structures and the foreign relations they had, interrelationships with each other, all that was shattered and destruction was there. So on the which European state had based their relations. So whatever the relations they had, all that was destroyed in the Second World War, during the Second World War. Okay, so to help Europe to get out of this difficult situation, so under Marshall Plan, USA provided financial help. So you have to always remember Marshall Plan here means where USA provided financial help to revive Europe economy, okay, to revive the economy of Europe, and to so that they can make a fresh start where they can again build their relations and structure on a particular platform. USA had given them a financial help under Marshall Plan. So Marshall Plan is all about the USA provided a financial help to revive the European economy. Moving forward, and under this Marshall Plan, as it was a financial help from USA to European states, under Marshall Plan, the Organization for European Economic Cooperation, you have to remember a 2 mark or 1 mark question can be there. What do you understand by OEC? So you must remember, under this Marshall Plan only, there was an organization that is called Organization for European Economic Cooperation. An organization was formed and the name was, it was the Organization for the European Economic Cooperation, where the European countries will cooperate along with the help of USA, as USA was providing the financial help. So there was an organization formed. OEEC was established in 1948. Please remember the date. The World War ended in 1945. Okay, then under the Marshall Plan, USA gave a financial support to European economy, and under that Marshall Plan there was a formation of a organization. Its name is OEEC, and it was formed in 1948. You have to remember the timeline. and though the Western European states began to cooperate on trade and economic issues, but in the starting, under this organization, the countries which were involved in this organization or under the Marshall Plan, the countries were only Western Europe. You can understand why only Western European countries were involved, because this was the period after 1945 till 1991. This was the time period of Cold War. If you will see the time period from 1945 to 1991, this entire time span was a time period of Cold War, where Western Europe was supported by US and Eastern Europe was supported by USSR. As I had shown you in the diagram also here, this was Western Europe, and this was Eastern Europe. Okay, so Western Europe was supported by USA. These were the allies of USA, and half Eastern Europe was the supporter of USSR. So the USA gave the financial support to the only Western European countries, okay, under the organization which was called OEEC. I'm repeating it, it's written here. Though these Western European states began to cooperate, and under this organization, they started, the countries of the Western Europe, they started cooperating on trade and economic issues. For any country to establish themselves once again after the so much of destructions at every sphere, maybe political, economic, military, technology, everything was destroyed. So they had started making a fresh start. So they started cooperating on trade and economic issues, because to make developments, first thing which we require is the economy. So to start making a strong economy, they started cooperating on trade and economic issues under this organization OEC. But only Western European countries started with this thing. But we will see how slowly and gradually whole of the Europe became the European Union. Till now we are only studying how European Union came into existence slowly and gradually. So as we have seen in 1948, what happened in 1948, OEEC came into existence, okay. And what happened in 1949, the Council of Europe was established. Now there was a Council of Europe. You have to remember, there can be a 1 mark question, when was Council of Europe established? So the date would be 1949. And the step forward in political cooperation. And what was the work of this Council of Europe? It worked for the political cooperation, because OOEC was working for the economic cooperation and trade. But after this 1949, they also required, where they need to cooperate with each other and with the mutual understanding, they need to improve their political relations, their foreign relations with each other. If they wanted to grow as a proper region and with the help of one another and improve their relations, they needed to have this Council of Europe, which worked for the political cooperation among the European states. So this happened on 1949, the Council of Europe. The next step in the formation of European Union was in 1957. Now after 49, after a few years, in 1957, again they formed another association. It was European Economic Community. Now they made a proper European Economic Community, because OEEC was an organization which was formed by under Marshall Plan. And Marshall Plan, as we know, it was a financial support given to Europe. But now they formed their own economic community, which looked after the economic importance or the economic cooperation among the European states. So they looked into the political sphere also now, and economic sphere also now. Now moving forward. Okay, so these were the 3 important dates which you have to remember. 1948, formation of OEEC under Marshall Plan. Then 1949, you have to remember the Council of Europe was formed. And in 1957, formation of Europe Economic Community. Okay, now we are coming to the point now. After disintegration of Soviet bloc, but now the period had come, we are talking about 1991, and there was a disintegration of Soviet bloc, or USSR we can say. It led to the establishment of European. As soon as Soviet Union disintegrated, it led to the formation of European Union in 1992. So you have to remember the date. European Union was finally formed in 1992 after the disintegration of USSR. But before that, since 1948 till 1991, this European Union was under a process of becoming a union. Okay. So after their formation, European Union was a group of European capitalist countries, and you have to remember, it has been mentioned in your NCERT book. There was the Treaty of Maastricht. Under this, the countries of Europe, they have signed a treaty of Maastricht, and after that, this European Union was formed. So there can be a question, after signing which treaty European Union was formed in 1992. So you will have to answer Treaty of Maastricht. European Union was a group of European capitalist countries. So now European Union, what was European Union? As we saw after the disintegration of USSR, many countries including Russia, Belarus, okay, these countries had formed their own organization which was Commonwealth of Independent States. But as we talked about, few states including the Baltic states, they had joined European Union. So some countries of USSR after its disintegration joined European Union. So it's written here, European Union was a group of European capitalist countries. It means all the countries which were the member of European Union, they followed the ideology which was followed by USA or US America, okay, with a common foreign. But one thing was there, they all followed common foreign and security policies. It means all the 12 in the starting there were 12 members who were the member of European Union. They all had the common foreign policies, security policies, cooperation on justice, home affairs, and creation of single currency. Even they had to follow the single currency. Can you imagine, like we as a country of South Asia, we have India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, okay, then we have Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, so many countries, but all have their different foreign policies, all have their different home affairs. We do not follow the same structure when it comes to about economic and political or cultural system. We are different from each other. But this was a strong point of European Union, that they all had a common foreign policy. It means whatever the policy Britain will follow, the same will France will also follow. So this was the thing. Security policy also they had same. Even they had a single currency, that was euro, and also had its own flag. They had their own flag. Their countries had different, but as a EU they all followed a single flag. They had a national anthem also as of EU, and they had a founding date also. So we can say that why this organization became so powerful, because we can see so much of unity we can see under this, where they followed the common currency, they had the flag, they had their own anthem, their founding date, their common security policies, foreign policies. So this made them even stronger, which could challenge the power of US. There was no physical fight with US, but at least now at the world platform we had some organization which could challenge the dominance of US in the various fields of we can say economics, political, or military or technology. Okay, now this was becoming stronger and stronger. So EU had changed from an economic union to an increasingly political one. In the beginning, they had started as an economic union, as their relations had been shattered, and there was economic failure after the World War II. So they started with as an economic union first of all under Marshall Plan, following organization OEC. But later on it became a political one, where they were now dominating the world affairs. They were influencing many countries and many organizations around the world, okay, with their power and influence. So in what happened in 2003, European Union even tried to make constitution for European states, EU states. So all the members of European Union, they even in 2003 they tried to have a common constitution. According to this constitution, all the states of European Union would be governed. But however, they failed to do so. But at least they had tried to do this thing also. So this was all about European Union. This was the basic introduction, I would say. And in the next video we will be discussing something relating to the features of European Union. Now after understanding the formation of European Union, how it was established, under what circumstances, and how it was becoming powerful day by day, how we could see the unity among these states. So we will study some economic, political, and military features or the influence features of EU, that how people or the other countries around the world were being influenced by EU, and how people thought that this can be an alternative center of power which could challenge the hegemony of US. But before that, let's see, there is a diagram also, or a flag given. Let's talk about their flag. Yeah. Originally 12 nations were the members of EU. So originally in 1992 or 1991 we can say there were 12 members of European Union. So later it was joined by some post-Soviet republics also. Later on some more countries joined this EU, which got free from independence from the USSR after its disintegration. So if we talk about the flag of this European Union, it has 12 golden stars. Like there is a circle and there are 12 golden color stars on the map in, okay. And what is the reason? Because it stands for solidarity. If we talk about 12 and if we talk about the circle shape, what is the importance and significance of circle? Because circle stands for solidarity and unity. As we can see the unity in UN, as they are following the common foreign policies, security policies, common anthem, flag, etc., founding date. So this circle stands for solidarity, harmony, peace. They maintain peace and cooperation among each other between the people of Europe. So they have maintained solidarity and harmony between the people of Europe. This is the relevance of this map or the logo of this their map. Okay. And also why only 12? Because there were 12 members in the beginning. Also 12 is traditionally symbol of perfection, completeness and unity. So if you talk about number 12, is always, it's traditionally believed that it is a symbol of perfection, completeness and unity, which we can see in European Union. Okay. Read from your book also. As you can see the chapter, have I told you here that the name has been revised for this particular chapter, and now the instead of alternative, have I told you, now new centers of power, and some topics have been added, some countries have been added like Israel, India, Russia. We'll read that, we'll give you notes for that. Must read the chapter from the NCERT, this overview where I have explained you the same thing, that how the past 2 or 3 chapters which we have covered, that is the Cold War era, then the end of bipolarity and the US hegemony. Although US hegemony is now merged with chapter 2, but still we have separately also we have seen those topics. So how these are relevant to understand this chapter 4 that I have discussed in the starting of the chapter. Yes, this is the first topic of your book, and I have written down all the important notes. But still, if you want to read it from your NCERT book, you can take a reading. Okay, I have made notes for you, and this is the important map. You can see old members, new members. See, this is Western Europe. This all was Western Europe. You can see, and these countries you can see here with orange color. These are the new members which joined EU after 1991, that is after the disintegration of USSR. Like you can see Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. I told you these are the Baltic states. These three, 1, 2, 3. These are the Baltic states: Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Okay, like here Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. These are the countries which joined European Union later on. Initially, there were only 12 members, as we had seen in the map, or sorry, in the flag also. They are having 12 stars. So this is a map of Europe. This was a western part. Okay, from here Germany, we can see the division, how Germany was divided. Okay, this is the European Union flag which I was talking about. These are the golden star in a circular way, which are the golden color. It's written the circle of the golden star stands for solidarity, harmony between the people of Europe. It has 12 stars, as a number of 12 is traditionally symbol of perfection, completeness and unity. So I hope you have understood. So keep, after reading my notes, keep reading the NCERT book also. And we'll take the features of European Union. This topic is not over now, otherwise the video will be too long, and we'll discuss the features of European Union. That, okay, we have seen that how this European Union was established, but now we must have know, and we will have to prove that on which basis we are saying that European Union was a superpower, which not a superpower, which could challenge the dominance of US now. So on the basis of its military, on the basis of its economic power, and on the basis of its political system, we'll try and prove that how European Union was a alternative centers of power which could challenge the dominance of US. Okay, so with that we'll do in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care.